lecture. That's why we did it like that.
Right, right.
So hope you didn't have any problem in joining.
No, ma'am, I'm done.
Yeah.
I think the COVID has trained us all.
Yeah. It has taught us many things.
Many things. And Zoom is one of them. Online classes and, technology.
Keep on speaking without looking at others.
Right. That physical touch and, as a teacher, as a professor, you always want to see the satisfaction levels in the eyes of the students, which is so impossible in the case.
Yeah.
So Dr. Satnam is our head of chemistry department.
Oh, okay. Hello, ma'am.
Yeah. Hello.
I think we started talking even without knowing each other.
Yeah. Actually, names are there, so I think.
I know.
And Dr. Gurmeet is our senior most member of the department.
Okay. Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Welcome to our Catenation function.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And this platform has been created by Dr. Vimal.
Okay.
He's expert in these things.
Okay. So he's there. Dr. Vimal.
I think she is just joining. She has joined, but I think she's not here. And our vice principal, Dr. Jassal, is already there because he's also from our department. Principal sir will be joining shortly.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome, Dr. Sally.
Yeah, sir. Thank you, sir.
Others have kept their cameras off. So
okay. There is a convenience there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When they put the camera on, then you see the real picture, no?
Yeah.
ये जसल का दो जगह पे कैसे आ रही है फोटो?
इसकी? मेरी?
शैली की?
अच्छा।
मेरी दो जगह आ रही है?
नहीं जसल की?
जसल नहीं मैं I can see him. हाँ।
दो जगह आ रही है, डॉक्टर शैली की जगह भी जसल की फोटो आ रही है।
नहीं ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है?
That is great.
That means Dr. Sally is vice principal today.
मैं ये भेजती हूँ आपको, जसल की कैसे आ रही है?
नहीं होगी ठीक अभी या कुछ करें उसके लिए?
नहीं अभी भी आ रही है। I am sending this in the group. कैसे आ रही है?
कहीं आपने वो डबल वो मोबाइल और लैपटॉप दोनों तो नहीं खोले हुए?
नहीं मेरा एक ही है। जसल की कैसे आ रही है?
नहीं होगी ठीक अभी या कुछ करें उसके लिए?
नहीं अभी भी आ रही है। I am sending this in the group. कैसे आ रही है? ये देखो मैंने अभी ग्रुप में भेजी है। नहीं
So our live streaming on YouTube has also started.
Okay.
That's good. That's good. Dr. Sally, we have a magazine, Zwitter.
Okay.
So we plan to release that also today.
Oh, great. Wonderful. Good platform to do that. Huh? So this is done annually, this program that you're doing?
Yeah. Annually. That's right. So Dr. Vimal is here now. You can see her.
Okay.
I was telling them that Sara platform आपने create किया.
Good morning, Dr. Sally. Hi, welcome.
Good morning, madam. Good morning.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, just at our center we keep on conducting various events, so I have a team. who can handle this. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Vimal, can you send this link to the chemistry honors students? उनको चला गया है कि?
I think this link has been forwarded to all.
Yeah.
Actually,
those who are taking the class can means I have forwarded the link on all the groups that I was a part of, like for second year honors and first year honors. It must have been sent.
Yeah, and you please share the YouTube link also. This is live on YouTube
that I have
also.
Again shared.
And those who register on Zoom, they can watch it there.
Yeah. So I think Amarpreet is there in first year and second year honors group. Amarpreet?
Yes.
Yes, so you can share this YouTube link just sent on the event group.
Okay, sure, ma'am. Sure.
Yeah.
Should we थोड़ा start कर दें क्या?
आप बताओ।
11 बजे सर बोले थे, या तो अब देखिए कैसे
जाना तो हो ही गए हैं।
11:15 he told, एक बार
ठीक है, maybe you can inform her, inform him that we are ready. Whenever he joins, we will start. No? Otherwise, we can wait for 10 minutes, but sorry for the delay, Dr. Sally.
और इसमें लिंक में पता नहीं some in between I think I am getting log out. पता नहीं क्या प्रॉब्लम आ रही है।
अच्छा, इंटरनेट इशू तो नहीं है आपके एंड पे? तो नहीं है इंटरनेट इशू?
नहीं, it is very, मैं चेक कर रही हूँ कि फोटो भी रिमूव हो रही है। Something is wrong. मैं फोटो ही हटा देती हूँ। ब्लिंक कर रही है, पता नहीं, I don't know. हेलो हेलो
हाँ जी, हेलो।
यस मैम।
साउंड चली गई है, क्या प्रॉब्लम है कुछ?
मैम वेट करने के लिए बोला है अभी, प्रिंसिपल सर की ज्वाइनिंग तक के लिए।
अच्छा
इतने में चाय वाय का कप पी लीजिए सभी।
साथ में समोसे भी भेज दो डॉक्टर जसल।
हाँ जी,
समोसे भी चाहिए।
मैंने कहा इतनी देर में चाय का कप वगैरह पी लीजिए।
वो भेजी हुई है आपको, मिली नहीं अभी तक। इडली भी भेजी है साथ में।
अच्छा, वो अभी वो इडली वो ऑनलाइन ही मिली होगी ना आपको?
नहीं, आपको भी भेजी हुई है।
अच्छा अच्छा, थैंक यू वेरी मच, थैंक यू।
ऐसा है डॉक्टर सतनाम, थोड़ा बहुत शुरू कर देते हैं, इंट्रोडक्शन वगैरह कुछ दिन
हो
पर्सन
सकता
कैन
है
ज्वाइन।
सर और लेट हो जाए, 11:30 तक हो फिर।
हाँ, फिर वही ना,
ठीक है,
स्टार्ट
ऐसे
कर
कर
देते हैं,
लेते
यू
हैं।
कैन जॉइन इट बिन बाय वेस्ट टाइम।
ठीक है, ठीक है,
है ना?
ठीक है।
हाँ, लेट्स एटलीस्ट स्टार्ट द प्रोग्राम।
ओके, ओके। Yes, Jaskiran and Manpreet, please start.
Yes ma'am, yes ma'am. So a very good morning to all of you. On behalf of the Catenation Society of SGTB Khalsa College, I, Jaskiran Kaur, student of 3rd year, and Manpreet Kaur, student of 2nd year, would like to welcome you all on the inauguration ceremony of 5th edition of Zwitter magazine, special issue dedicated to 400th birth anniversary of Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to our Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Sally Lucas. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable time. Let's start the day with the blessings of the Almighty. I would now like Chavi Grover of 3rd year to please recite the Shabad. Chavi, please. I request all of you to please cover your heads.
I request you to cover your hands. Should I begin?
Yes, Chavi, yes.
छवि अनम्यूट, पहले अनम्यूट करो।
I think there is some issues because her video is also not moving.
She has not unmuted herself.
Yeah.
But there is some problem with this. कुछ प्रॉब्लम आ रही है यहाँ पे, in between I am disconnected.
I think that's the problem with Chavi also. Doesn't matter, she'll join in a minute.
But there is no video or microphone, no voice.
I think she has logged out somehow and she'll be joining in a minute.
Actually, I got disconnected due to.
Yeah.
Chalo, continue now.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yeah. Now.
Yes, you are.
Video is not coming.
No. Yes, you. We can see you and you are audible.
Okay, thank you so much. वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो साधो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो साधो, गोविंद के गुण गावो। मानस जन्म मोलक पाओ, बिरथा काहे गवाओ, मानस जन्म मोलक पायो, बिरथा काहे गवाओ, बिरथा काहे गवाओ, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो साधो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो साधो, गोविंद के गुण गावो। पतित पुनीत दीन बंद हर शरण ताहि तुम आवो, पतित पुनीत दीन बंद हर शरण ताहि तुम आवो, मुझको त्रास मिट्यो जे सिमरत तुम काहे बिसरावो, तुम काहे बिसरावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो साधो, गोविंद के गुण गाओ, गोविंद के गुण गावो साधो, गोविंद के गुण गाओ। तजी अभिमान मोह माया बचन राम चित लावो, तजी अभिमान मोह माया बचन राम चित लावो, नानक कहत मुकत पंथ गुरमुख होय तुम पावो, गुरमुख होय तुम पावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो साधो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो साधो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो साधो, गोविंद के गुण गावो, गोविंद के गुण गावो साधो, गोविंद के गुण गावो। वाहेगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहेगुरु जी की फतेह।
ये सभी की वीडियो नहीं आ रही थी क्या? आप सभी को नहीं आ रही है? मेरे को नहीं आ रही है सतनाम।
नहीं,
it was coming and going.
हाँ जी,
नेटवर्क इशू आ रहा है, थोड़ा लग रहा है।
आ रही थी।
हमें तो आ रही थी।
अभी
आवाज भी कम हो रही थी।
चलो, anyway, let's proceed.
Thank you, Chavi. I would like to acknowledge all the members of Catenation for their immense efforts and hard work. Nishta Punani and Ishpreet Kaur, editorial team, Bhupen, Avneet Kaur, Astha Pandey, Shavi Grover, Manpreet Kaur, Lavanya Singh Malik, Ananya, Nikhil Chauhan, Khyati Gaut, Kashashreet Kaur, Harmanpreet Singh, Amandeep Kaur, Sehjpreet Kaur, Kirti Arora, Gurneet Kaur, Aman Dua, Yashika, Vedant Arora, and Ashmeet Kaur. I would now like Dr. Satnam Kaur, Convener, Department of Chemistry, to say few words. Madam, please.
Yeah, respected Principal Sir, respected Chief Guest, my dear colleagues, and my very dear students, very good morning and a warm welcome to this inaugural session of our Chemical Society Catenation. We feel honored to have Dr. Sally Lucas as our chief guest today and are looking forward to an interesting and informative talk from her. And this gives me immense pleasure to announce that our principal sir will be shortly releasing the special issue of our annual magazine Zwitter. And as Kiran just told us, this is a special issue on the occasion of 400th birth anniversary of Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji. I would also like to thank our principal sir for the suggestions and encouragement given in bringing about this issue. Our students have contributed their well-researched articles for the magazine. The editorial board members have worked very enthusiastically to put the magazine together. I congratulate them for the same. I wish all the very best to our students for all their future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
The most awarded time has come, and now it's a time for the release of magazine. I would now like Dr. Gurmeet Kaur to please release the magazine and say a few words.
Just Kiran, actually we can wait.
I think we can invite the chief guest.
Yeah, and
yeah, we can
maybe
invite Dr. Shweti.
Ma'am, can you please repeat?
As principal sir will be joining shortly, so maybe we can release the magazine after the talk.
Saying
okay,
that
sure,
let us invite Dr. Shelley to release this magazine.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. So shall I wait or shall I move to the next part?
No, I could not get to Jaskiran.
Ma'am, shall I wait now?
Vimal?
I would suggest that maybe we could start the talk, and once the principal is here, maybe we could release the magazine once the talk is over.
Okay.
Yes, that can be done. Yes.
Okay. So I'll move to the talk part now. Okay.
So if you want that, I can just say some words.
Just a minute, just 1 minute. 1 minute only.
Okay, ma'am.
Hello.
बस 1 minute, ma'am. Just a minute. Give me 1 minute. Just a minute. Actually, Vimal is talking to principal sir. He has just called her. So just a minute. We'll be getting back in a minute. अच्छा अच्छा ठीक है, तो फिर वेट करवा लो ना. Just wait. Actually, he is having some problem in joining. So, he's joining just in a minute. He had called up for that link also only. He is having some problem in joining.
I think for the time being, we can introduce the members Catenation Society.
Sure, ma'am. So, the world is full of gems, and we are having one of them here with today, Dr. Sally Luko.
Society members. Ma'am is asking you to introduce Catenation Society members.
Okay. So, Nishtha, can you please introduce yourself, the editorial team? Nishtha, Ishpreet, Bhupen.
Good morning, everyone. I am the editor of the magazine and the secretary of the Catenation Society, Nishtha Panani from third year.
Yes, other members can also be introduced. Jaskiran.
Bhupen, are you there? Bhupen, Ishpreet.
Ishpreet is there.
Good morning, everyone. I am the other editor, that is the co-editor of the Zwitter Volume 5 and a student of third year. Ishpreet.
Avneet is there. You can introduce her also.
Can we just shift to Google or something else? Voice is not coming, it is not audible.
Within a minute, sir is joining.
Okay. This. Okay. Welcome, sir.
Sir, you will have to unmute yourself.
Welcome, sir.
आवाज नहीं आ रही
आवाज नहीं आ रही है, बिल्कुल भी आवाज नहीं आ रही है. It's not audible.
सतनाम
Hello.
अनम्यूट अपना.
Jaskiran?
आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
Yes, ma'am.
Welcome,
Jaskiran,
Principal,
please.
sir. The most awarded time has come, and now it's a time for the release of magazine. I would now like Principal Sir Dr. Jaswinder Singh to please release the magazine and say a few words.
Sir, please unmute yourself.
मैंने तो अनम्यूट किया हुआ है, बट ये
आ रही है सर, आवाज आ रही है आपकी.
अब आ रही, हाँ जी, अब
आ रही है. वो आप जो इवेंट मैनेजर, आई थिंक ही हैज.
मॉर्निंग सर, मॉर्निंग.
हाँ जी, हाँ जी. हेलो
Sir, this is our magazine. There, one student is presenting it, and you can just go through. We can just go through the magazine once.
Okay.
Dr. Satnam, Dr. Sally की मीटिंग है. We have to start early. ये
Okay.
थोड़ा सा जल्दी कर दो. Okay.
Jaskiran, I think
I will. Yeah. Manpreet, please start the briefing.
I will now give a brief about the magazine. The special issue dedicated to 400th birth anniversary of Hindi Chadar Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, the 9th Guru of the Sikhs.
Voice is not coming.
So the magazine starts with Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's teachings and in its relevance in scientific world. This article is written by Dr. Satnam Kaur and Dr. Manpreet Kaur. The next article, Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, His Life, Teachings and Legacy, is written by Dr. Amarpreet Kaur Kalra. Then there is message from the principal's text, Dr. Jaswinder Singh. The next page consists of message from Vice Principal Dr. P.S. Jassal, message from the convener of the department Dr. Satnam Kaur, message from President of the Catenation Bhupen Shetri, message from editors Dex Nishtha Punani and Ishpreet Kaur. The next page consists of contents and about the department. This page consists of result analysis, followed by the article about the eminent scientist written by Manpreet Kaur from 2nd year and Lavanya Singh Malik 3rd year. The Importance of Ethics in Scientific Research is written by Ananya Khular, student of 1st year. The article discusses the past scenarios and use of biological and chemical warfare, the question of personal responsibility of the scientists, and talks about the development of ethical code. Next article is Boosting COVID-19 Vaccine Myths and is written by Nikhil Chauhan, student of 3rd year. This article is about boosting COVID-19 vaccine myths in which believable myths are debunked by the facts and scientific explanations. Followed by the article Chemicals Used in Forensic Science written by Manpreet Kaur, student of 2nd year. Next article is Incredible Indian Inventions written by Nishtha Punani, student of 3rd year. Then there is a crossword puzzle created by Kathy Grover, student of 3rd year.
Manpreet? Manpreet, sorry to disturb you, but
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
we can continue with this later. We can have a few words from
I
our
think there's no need to tell each and everything.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can stop for the time being and we can have a few words from our principal, sir. He has given his valuable suggestions and encouragement in bringing about this issue. We thank you, sir, for the same. Please say a few words of encouragement.
Thank you, Dr. Satram, and the student who was presenting this magazine. Let me at the outset express our thankfulness to today's speaker, and I think this is the first function of the Society Catenation, the Department of Chemistry Society, which is organizing many events. Department of Chemistry, we know that we have many veterans here. Dr. Gurmeet Kaur, Dr. Sodhi, Dr. Vimal, Satramji, and many others. So in that sense, Department of Chemistry is full with all the chronicles of Khalsa College. The students have also been equally, impressive and hardworking in terms of regularly bringing out this issue. I think this is the volume 4th or 5th. And this year it has been devoted to the 9th Guru, Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib, on whose name this institution was opened in 1951 by Delhi Sekudar Management Committee. And the main objective of the institution was to provide education to the displaced persons from the then undivided India, which is now in Pakistan. And we are celebrating his 400th Prakash Utsav. Fifth Guru, the 9th Guru, in fact, had laid down his life for upholding the basic human rights in terms of professing one's faith, expression of freedom, and then, basically confronting the establishment in terms of, imposing one's own thoughts or one's own religion on the population of the country. We know that this path was the path of freedom, the path of basic human rights, and the true labor was set up by Guru Nanak Sahib and Guru Hargobind Sahib, whose father was executed before him the fifth Guru, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, was executed in Lahore. And Guru Hargobind Sahib was forced, in fact, in a certain sense, to establish Akal Takht, which stands for the freedom of politics and religion, which stands that in case, the normal course of action, the normal process of persuading the establishment fails, that how important it is to preserve the basic human rights, then perhaps standing up in force, standing up resolutely is the only solution then. And that is how, the Akal Takht came into existence. And the first Jathedar of the Akal Takht, the first, custodian of Akal Takht was none other than Bhai Gurdas Ji, who was who compiled Guru Granth Sahib along with Guru Arjan Dev. And Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib, when the Kashmiri Pandits, they came to him and they emphasized that it was Aurangzeb who is making them convert to Islam for no reason. And Pandit Kirparam was the main chieftain of those Kashmiri Pandits. And then Guru Tegh Bahadur was in a very, very serious mood, and Guru Gobind Singh, who was 9 years at that time, he appealed his father that you can confront the Aurangzeb by sacrificing your life. And that is how, Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib got reassured that yes, the path shown by Guru Nanak Dev will be secure. And he never hesitated. In the flick of a second, he agreed, and he told the Pandits that you can convey a message through the governor of Lahore to Aurangzeb that yes, if you can make him convert to Islam, then every other Hindu will convert to this. But then Guru Tegh Bahadur, he argued with the Aurangzeb, who never agreed, who was all blind to imposing Islam. It was not that the people were against Islam. It was not that Guru Arjan Dev was against Islam. It was the unrequired, strict imposition of Islam on other faiths that Guru Arjan Dev was opposed. He himself was not a Hindu, practicing Hindu, but at the same time he stood for the people who professed Hinduism. Perhaps if it was the persecution of some other religion, Guru Tegh Bahadur would have sacrificed his life. So it is a great, we do not find any parallel in history through the world that, a person is sacrificing his life for the cause of some other faith. So it was Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib. And he also, his execution was preceded by the execution of 3 of his followers, Bhai Dayala, Bhai Matidas, and Bhai Satidas. And we know that, it unleashed an era of resentment against Aurangzeb. And ultimately, the Mughal Empire got crushed. Mughal Empire had declined, and it faced its, the worst phase. And Guru Gobind Singh also sacrificed his entire life. This is, these are the ideals for which Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib stood. And I am happy and I congratulate the Department of Chemistry, especially Dr. Satnam Kaur Ji, for, incorporating the legacy of some article on the legacy of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib, which is so important. And apart from that, the chemistry department, as it has been seen, that has been shouldering the responsibility of the forensic science unit also. And I am quite happy to see that the students have written something on COVID also. What are the myths about COVID, and also, the vaccination, how important it is. And we should also, highlight in the successive issues that how, we are facing the COVID and why it is important to get vaccinated, even though it is not, there may not be insurance that it will 100% give us the vaccination, but still, it builds up the immunity in the body. It builds up the strength of the body to face the COVID, and that is what is important in a country like India. And perhaps that is why one reason why India has succeeded not merely in producing it, it's also leading in terms of getting the population vaccinated. So in that sense, the Department of Chemistry is doing a considerable job. And we plan to do many events on Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib, for which Department of Chemistry would be constantly involved. I would like you to distribute the pamphlets which which our college has prepared on the life and legacy of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib, so that the students can learn from that, and also how we can contribute to the society at large, especially in the University of Delhi. I once again welcome the speaker, and I express gratitude on behalf of the college fraternity to the speaker to be here with us this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your kind words.
Thank you so much, sir.
It was only through your suggestions and encouragement that we could bring about this special issue. Now I request Jaskiran to please introduce our worthy speaker.
So as I mentioned earlier, the world is full of gems and we are having one of them here. Dr. Sally Lucas. She has about 70. So she has about 17 years of experience in institution building, teaching, research, and administration work. In national and international journals, she has. Am I audible? Okay. I think Gurmeet ma'am can't hear me.
Yeah, I can't.
I think, Jaskiran, you are otherwise audible. Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
That's why I am wondering what is there.
Okay. So, as I mentioned, she has more than 30 publications in national and international journals. She is the recipient of Meritorious Service Award of Indian Congress of Forensic Science, and she is also a nodal officer of AISHE, Government of India, MHRD. She has served as a member of the UGC Committee for UGC NET JRF examinations, imparted training to police officers in more than 15 states on road accident investigation, including in NEPA. Presently, she is holding the post of Dean, School of Allied Health Science, Sharda University, Greater Noida. Ma'am, are you saying something? Is Gurmeet ma'am saying something? Or shall I continue?
मेरी ना एक्चुअली आज आवाज ही नहीं सुनाई नहीं दे रहा बीच में.
Okay, ma'am. So, ma'am, we are delighted to have you with among us. On behalf of all the members, we would like to extend our warmest welcome and good wishes to you. Thank you so much for your precious time. I now request Dr. Sally Lucas to please say a few words. Madam, please.
Yeah, thank you, Jaskiran, for your warm introduction. And I can see that all of you have put in a lot of effort for the program, and also I'm sure had it been done physically, the matter would have been taken up very beautifully. But I think you all have done a wonderful job in getting things all put together. So should I start the talk, or is there anything else? Because I would need to share my screen then.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can.
Okay. So is my screen visible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Visible.
Okay, thank you so much for the entire team for having called me in and to allow me to share my my knowledge or my expertise or my aspects related to something which is I wouldn't say that it is a core component of forensic per se, but then it has something to do with in fact I think every person is a road user. Every person is a road user, and they have to come to the roads. They have to use some or the other means of transport to reach to their place of work, to their their destinations. And when you're talking about something like that, you always become part of that journey of roads. So irrespective of whatever identifications and evidence evaluation that you do in forensic science, the scientific aspects associated with accident investigations becomes very, very significant. And when I'm giving this talk, I am not just addressing the scientific aspects. I'm also requesting the youngsters, all the learned members on the stage today to have a thought process by the end of this talk, to understand how and why those accidents are taking place on the roads, and is there something that we can do to make our roads safer, ensure that the lives that are there on those roads which are lost unwanted, it's a wastage of life, it's a wastage of an age group that actually is done away with because of somebody else's carelessness or because of their own deviation of attention. So I'm going to talk about that. Plus, I'm also going to touch upon how forensic aspects can help you in the investigation process, and maybe a couple of case studies that I would like to bring about. Hope there's the paucity of time doesn't take off on me. So I'm going to talk about how the accident is defined in our country. So usually, if you look into the historical part of why historical, even if you look into how an accident is defined, it's never come under, it never actually or really comes under the purview of a crime per se. Usually it is an accident, the minute you say it's an accident, it's a tragedy, it's a catastrophe, it's your own goal, it's just a small bump, or ye iski kismat thi, so it happened. But you normally don't categorize it under the purview of a crime. Now, that is where the whole system goes wrong, because once you say that it is not a crime, then you automatically say that it is an accident. So which means the investigation is hardly there. And by and large, it's always the scenario is that depending upon whichever is the heavier vehicle involved in an accident, the heavier vehicle, that is when there's a vehicle to vehicle accident that's taking place, the heavier vehicle involved is made the culprit or the main party to that particular crime. So that's where the whole issue rises, and because that leaves a space for you not to do an investigation, and you go ahead with saying that because the driver of the bigger vehicle is there, and so he is automatically responsible, and the crime is the accident, body of the accident is put on his shoulders, that you are responsible for that. I think that can be done away with, because accidents actually, the investigation of accidents would help you in understanding what exactly has taken place and how and why accident investigation is important, to what are the end results of it, how can you come about bring about remedial measures to understand. That is what we are going to see, how this whole concept of accident investigation should be looked up or looked into. Before I go into that, I would just like to draw your attention to a couple of cases that you might have heard about it, and it's just a for you, it's just a story that comes to your mind, you see it and then you go away with it. You just maybe say, oh, how could people be so insensitive to something like this. So I'm just talking about a case that probably happened 2015. There was this, it was just a, there was a truck that was carrying, it was full of detergent that was, it was carrying, it actually met with an accident. And, it was around the village part, and there were people who came in, but they came in to help themselves. In fact, what they were doing was they were unloading the truckload of detergents and going away with it. The people who were the victims of the crime, victims of the accident, that is the cleaner and the truck driver, they were hardly looked into. They were not given the requisite first aid, or they were not informed to the nearest police station, which was just 15 minutes from there. And they were lying down and nobody was helping them. This is also a scenario where you have a single vehicle accident, and if you're expecting the passerbys or the people who are there, standbyers, to help them out, that also doesn't normally happen. This is another case, it's again an accident case caught on CCTV camera. I think many of you would have seen this, accident taking place. It was there on the CCTV footages that was there on all social media. 2016, a security guard was going back to his, home, and he was at 3 a.m. in the morning after his day's duty, and he was hit by a delivery van, just outside. I think this is the footage that most of you must have seen, that he was hit from the back. He was lying there on the spot, and he for a good 90 minutes, he was lying there. Nobody was there to attend to him, and there were people who came and went. Hundreds of people passed that lane, but nobody stopped to even rescue that poor fellow from there. But yes, of course, there was a gentleman, a rickshaw puller, who did stop by, but he stopped there only to help himself, because what he did was he picked up the mobile phone of the victim, which was lying there, and he walked away with it. So whatever, any means of helping the poor victim was not done, and he died after bleeding to death. So this is also certain things that you would see, the manner in which accident victims are addressed to, and how it actually happens. Now, if I have to explain to you what exactly happens in terms of how would you define an accident, whether there is a direction to that or not. So World Health Organization in 2004 announced that road safety cannot be called as mere accidents. It can't be where you have 1.2 million people dying across the globe every year, and then you push it off as just saying that they are mere accidents. So the connotation goes up when you say that they are road crashes, because the word crash has a bigger understanding to it. You talk about, you understand the significance of what it is. Like, for example, you have a plane that has met with a so-called an accident. I may quote that in inverted commas, because if it falls off and it meets with an accident, you don't call that an accident, you call that as a crash. So you imagine the number of people who are dying every day on those roads, and we call them as mere accidents, and you push it off aside, saying that it's not a crime, it doesn't have much significance, it's just a person who's died on the road. Now that's where the entire problem comes up. Why? Because if you understand this, I'm just coming to that. So if you see this, the kind of deaths that we are looking at here, you will find that this is a very sorry state of figures that we see here. Now, what has happened is, in the last decade or so, 2011, India was as a part of the Convention of Road Safety to the World Health Organization, that signed a document which said that they are signatory to this, that they'll bring down the number of accidents in the states, and they would be they'll work towards the road safety pledge that they have taken. So from 2011 to 2020, this was the decade for action for road safety, which was planned. But from the last data that was published from the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways from 2011 onwards, if you see the trend, though of course in between it did see a little bit of dip here and there, but the last data of 2018 that I got was, around 1.5 lakh people dying on the roads. That is a 2018 data of India alone. So this is the status of affairs if you look into the road fatalities in India, and you try to understand what are the causes of road accident, you would find the maximum part of it, that is almost 42.7% of the accidents, have been attributed to the driver's fault. It is said that it is a driver who is at fault. Now, why that data is so skewed is to understand, we have a tendency to put the blame on the driver of the heavier vehicle, irrespective to whether he's actually at fault, because we do not have any investigations in place. Now, come to that, you would understand that there is also, I've highlighted 1.1% of the accidents which took place on that particular scenario, of that particular year is attributed to road engineering fault. Now, that road engineering fault is given only 1.1%. In a given scenario, in an actual scene, this is not the case. These numbers can have a tremendous effect on the accidents that are taking place on the road, considering the fact that there is no accident investigations that is taking place. This aspect of the condition of the roads, or whether there is an engineering fault that is there on the road, is not taken into consideration. So, considering that fact, there is a need for scientific investigations, and that scientific investigations would require the important role for that comes with the police. And so if you go by that, for any forensic student, or for that matter, for any layman, there is an ABC of investigation that needs to be understood. Now, what is the ABC of an investigation? The ABC of investigation is that you can't be assuming something and saying that, just because it's a heavier vehicle, there are two vehicles are involved and the heavier vehicle will always be at fault. That is assumptions. Or let's say you find a body lying on the road environment, and you claim that this is a case of accident. That is not the case, because there are times that you would actually, there are times when the body is beaten up, or the person is killed somewhere else and is brought and put on the road and claimed that he's a victim of road accidents. But that need not. So it's all, so assumptions can happen, but you can't do that. So that is the thumb rule of an investigation. Believe no one, because if you blindly believe what information has been given to you, and if you say that it's okay, so this is a car that was, if you're searching for a car and somebody says that yes, the car color was, it was black, whereas it could be a dark navy blue, because there is a there's a dim light, or because the light and that particular time of event was very low or less, there is a possibility that the color of the car could not be identified. But because you completely believed by the witness statement, and you said that it's a black car, so you went ahead and started searching for a black car. So it has actually deviated from your regular sequence of investigation, which could have otherwise helped you in understanding. So all this investigation has to be based on facts, hard evidences, and last but not the least is check everything that you are getting at the scene, trying to understand whether it has a contributory value to that particular accident scenario that you are looking at. So if you look into the scientific definition of a traffic accident, it says that it is a series, it's an occurrence in a series of events that can produce injury, death, or property damage. So this is the a scientific explanation or the definition of a traffic accident. So why do you need to do a accident investigation or a crash investigation? So you need answers to these questions: what took place, why it happened, why the serious consequence has been there, when did it happen, where did it happen, could we have prevented such accidents in future, and if at all these accidents have to happen, then can we prevent the lethal consequences, that is the loss of life. Can we prevent the loss of life? Can we prevent those accidents taking place on the roads, and and stopping the families from being pushed into lower levels of poverty, because this is what is actually having. Probably he's a single earning member of the family, and he's a victim of accident, and the entire family is now, which was actually dependent on his single income, now has been pushed below the poverty line. So this actually, you also need to know that every year 3% of our GDP is lost only in because of these road accidents. The causes of accidents, well, it can be because of the environmental conditions such as weather. It can be snow, it can be fog, there can be heavy winds. There's a glare of the sun which is directly onto your face, and you're not able, there's the visibility. I think all of you who are driving vehicles, you'd understand when the sun is directly onto your face, the visibility of the road environment becomes very low. Or probably people here, there is a despite that there are challans in place, there is always a you have to keep telling them that there's something called as a road sense, and every time you would find people driving on high beam and blocking the vision and light of the people coming from the road on the other side. This especially happens when you have a single road, single user roads, you would find that this kind of conditions do take place. Additionally, the environmental conditions of road also consist about the engineering faults that you find on the road itself, the design faults. There are times when that also comes into existence. There would be, the non-maintenance of the road, creating potholes on the roads. So that also adds to the woes of accidents. Then, of course, there is human error, there is recklessness, illness, poor decision making, driving under the influence of alcohol, you're over speeding, you are severely fatigued, which is a normal scenario which you find among the truck drivers. It is a distracted driving, or you're driving aggressively. So there is a psychology that is coming into play here, and sometimes even due to little experience. I think most of you would be aware of the children below the age of 18 who are not even supposed to be given the vehicle. The children pick up the vehicle, go on the roads, and they are posing danger not only for themselves but also for the other road users. Now, additionally, there is also something which becomes a part of the accident, that is the malfunction of the vehicle itself. So in case if there is if the brakes are not working, and if there is the tires are too you must have heard about a tire bursting, or the central locking systems failing, and the vehicle gets heated up, and because of the friction there is a fire that catches, and the people, they are trapped inside the vehicle, they are unable to move out, and they are caught inside the vehicle, and they are burnt alive to death. So these are also some, because of the vehicle malfunction, the accidents could take place. So for example, if I talk about the environment, factors of accident, you'll find that the lighting, the position of the sun, it becomes very important. And if he's driving towards the sun, you would find that he would find it difficult to read the road signs, recognize the edge of the road, the distance between the two vehicles, or the vehicle that is in front of him, or probably he just fails to notice the junction where he's ideally supposed to stop. So this is a scenario, I think most of you would be, how you would see that, this is how it affects your driving. Your roads are not very visible, and in this photo here, you can it's very dim light you would see, and this especially happens when you're driving towards the sun, or if it is a sunset, you can see how the image actually looks. There could be deviant variations of it also. I just picked up some photographs so that you can have a feel of how things actually look like. or, you know, if it is poorly illuminated road, the vehicle signs, the warning signs, the road markings, the warning signs are not visible to the driver of the vehicle. So this is another view that you would normally find, you know, this is something again which creates a lot of trouble for the visibility of the driver of the vehicle. Weather conditions, it's again something, you know, it may affect the driver, it reduces his visibility. There would be on the road, it will create a lot of debris or sand accumulations. It can also add to it. You know, if there's a storm that comes in and there's a lot of, you know, dust and the other things that are falling on the roads, so his visibility is blocked there. The vehicle, it affects, heavy rains also affect the stability and friction of the vehicle onto the road. So this is a very, you know, common features that you would find, which happens, I think, practically every year on the Yamuna Expressway. Because of the reduced visibility due to fog, you would find that there is an accident pileup that takes place one after the other. You might have seen even videos where, you know, the cars are coming and piling up, and so many people are losing their lives on those expressways. Now, the issue is, now if you'd ask me, can there be some answers to these? Can there be a remedial measures? Of course, there are remedial measures, but unfortunately for us, you know, the way in which we drive our vehicle, there is a speed limit that is posted there. There is the way in which you should be driving your vehicle during the when the visibilities are low or when there is a heavy rainfall. So these factors, you know, have a significant role in introducing the kind of accidents that you see normally on the roads. Now, the last part of is the human error. I'm just taking up single examples here and there. So if you say that, you know, in terms of human errors that contribute to accident investigation, I would just like to draw your attention to the small clip which I got in, you know, it is from Shakespeare, Macbeth Act 2, Scene 2, where, you know, Macduff, one of the characters there, he asked his porter, what are the 3 things does drink a man do? So basically he's asking, what does a drink do to a man? How does it affect a man? So in that act, the porter responds to Macduff by saying that he is saying, you know, drinking turns your nose red. So scientifically that's called as vasodilation. It puts you to sleep. So it basically is a central nervous system depressant. It makes you urinate because it inhibits the secretion of vasopressin. And so it provokes and unprovokes. It provokes the desire, but it takes away the performance. It persuades you and discourages you. So you can see how alcohol, intake of alcohol for that matter, how it affects your judgments, how it affects your brain. It's a complete session that can happen maybe, you know, usually there are many times when I do take that portions also, but I may not be able to cover in this lecture here. But yes, you know, alcohol does have a lot of effect on your judgment of while driving the vehicle. Now, but while we create laws, we create norms, and we say that you will be charged, you'll be challaned, you'll be put behind the bars if you are, you know, driving under the influence of alcohol. But people actually look for ways and means to even cheat that. So what they do is, you know, they can, what they normally do is they would use a mouthwash which would contain about 27% of alcohol. They would use acetone, which is not acid, they don't use it, but it's a naturally producing chemical in the body, and you know, because of incomplete digestion, and it is a potentially interfering substance while you are taking a breathalyzer test. Physical activity and hyperventilation also has been found to reduce the blood alcohol concentration, which interferes with the suspect sampling readings. So, it is not a complete foolproof method of analyzing using the breathalyzers, but still it will give you an indication, and people do come up with ways and means to say that they will not blow into the vent of the breath alcohol analyzers or breathalyzers. And of course they come up with all reasons, and you must have seen so many videos where they pick up fight with the traffic police and they refuse to give the breath samples. But breathalyzers do have their significance in at least understanding the fact that whether they are under the influence of alcohol or not, right? Second is these are the various levels of how your brain functions under the percentage of levels of blood alcohol concentration, how your brain responds. So usually the legal limit for us is 30 milligram per 100 ml of blood. You should be, if you are coming in within that bracket, you call for a legal stern on there. But in different countries, this blood alcohol concentration varies according to their legal laws. Now, I come to the crux of what my talk was, that is the accident investigations. So basically, investigation part, if you go in for a proper scientific aspect of accident investigation, you would have 5 levels of it, right? So the level 1 is reporting. That means the accident has been reported by someone. Second is once the police is at the scene of crime or at the site of accident, the way in which the evidence is processed from that particular site there, how the evidences are catered to, that it would have that's the second level of investigation. The third level is the technical follow-up. So whatever evidence that you have picked up from the site, where are you sending those evidences, either to the forensic lab or to the engineers involved, whether you need to call up people from the School of Planning and Architecture to see how the road design has contributed to the accident, whether that's a black spot or not. So black spots are basically those areas where more than 2 accidents have taken place consequently. So that spot is called as a black spot, and that needs to be, there could be some engineering fault or some kind of a small remedial measure needs to be taken up to correct that particular spot or site to avoid further accidents in the future. Then level 4 would be about accident reconstruction, and putting up all together, level 1, 2, 3, and 4, you try to understand what is the cause of the accident. So you come down to the cause analysis of an accident. The 5 segments of accident investigation, which I just mentioned, so that is when you are getting the call, what are the things that you're supposed to do? So while you are en route, that is as you're going, as it is reported, if let's say if it is reported to you that an accident has taken place at so and so spot, so you give them the exact location, you try to give them some kind of a landmark, and in whatever information maximum you can get from the informer, that needs to be given. If there's any total, if you can see the victims, if there are severe injuries, if there is emergency equipments like crane is required, some for extrication, some cutting machines are required, ambulances are required, all that information should be gathered by the officer in charge who got that information, so that while he is reaching the spot, all the the required necessary thing is there handy to him, so that the matter is taken care of immediately. Now I would just want you to see this particular video here. It's just a reference sake, not an accident, but something to do with eyewitness testimonies and how it affects. So this is somebody who's opened the door, and he's going in to his come to his regular duty, he's come to his office or his home. He's seeing that he just sees across the window and he sees somebody standing there, and he's doing something suspicious there, which of course it was later on found that it was a bomb he was trying to plant there. And the minute he sees that somebody is observing him, he tries to escape that spot and he goes away. Now, I hope each one of you has seen that video. Now, the question is that you do not get a repeat repeat scene. So the event happens in a minuscule of a second, and things are back to the nature that it is supposed to be, right? So you do not know basically what you saw is correct, and now from there on how you are going to pass on that information to the relevant people who requires that information from your end. Now this video that you saw is a classic example of what can be interpreted from someone who is actually seeing that scene being enacted. So you got only one chance. Now, those of you who are seeing this video carefully, I'm sure the next slide that I'm going to show would be easy, because you please take a call on it. Maybe you can just give your response in your comment boxes. What I'm going to show next is a lineup of the suspects which they picked up from different spots, and that lineup is being done so that the person who actually saw this particular suspect could identify him from the lineup. So that's what I'm going to do for you. So this is a lineup. So there are actually 6 people lined up for the identification parade, and you are supposed to identify who was the person who was trying to flee, who was the suspect. So I don't know how many of you have been able to do it. Maybe you can send me your response later on, or maybe once I'm done with it, I can give you the answer to that. But hope you have jotted down your point there. I'll come to the next part here. That is among the 5 segments. Next part, that is at the scene, what are the things that you're going to do? So this is probably one of the most significant part of investigation. That is, the success or failure of the investigation depends upon this segment. Why? Because it talks about evidence collection, and evidence collection leads to evidence evaluation. So it's very significant that at this point, at this juncture, once you are there at the spot, the manner in which you cordon off the area, protect the area, mark your evidences and send it to the forensic lab, the way in which you're packing your evidence has a significance in making or breaking that particular case for you. Once that is done, whatever evidence that you have picked up, that is then sent to the forensic science laboratory. And also the witnesses, also the victims who probably have survived that, they would be in a better position, or maybe they would be contributing to the statements that has been given. So, and of course, the mechanical inspection of the vehicle. So report of the technical know-how about how the accident has taken place would be adding to the information that you're taking in. Based on that, you reconstruct, and then finally you come out with the cause analysis of the accident. So at the scene investigation basically has 3 bodies there: the scene, vehicle, and the body of the victim. So at this scene, this is I think all forensic students would know that the first thing that is done by the IO at the scene of crime is to protect it. So the protection of the scene has to be there. You search and there's an examination of the vehicle that needs to be done. Searching for the evidence has to be done. Especially in accident cases, the vehicles involved in the accident has to be given priority in examining, and they need to be examined well and thoroughly so that no evidences are left unearthed for. Once that is done, the evidences are marked, and they're marked and they are numbered also. You identify where are the evidences, you number them or you mark them. Then as part of the recording, you also need to take photography of the scene. And because in a normal crime scene, you usually take 3 sets of photographs. One is the longer view, that is which will cover the entire crime scene. You take a mid shot, that is, kind of you'll be able to understand how the things are at a light, comparatively a closer shot up. And then of course the photography, which is the contact shots or the close-up shots. Now those close-up shots will give you idea about the evidence, the finer details of the evidences. So that is how a normal crime scene is recorded. But in an accident scene, you also need to take additional photographs of the vehicles that are involved. And usually, you know, for a four-wheeler, 8 photographs are taken. For a two-wheeler, 4 photographs are taken. So it's taken from all directions, diagonally 8, 4, 6, 2. You know, these are the diagonal photographs that you have to take. You have to take from the sides 1, 5, and front and back 3 and 7. So these are the at least minimum 8 photographs per vehicle. This is additional to what you are taking of the entire scene. That is, entire scene ka the photographs that you take, that is the close-up, long range and mid-range. Additional to that, you also take up these 8 you know, photographs of the scene. Sketching is another thing that you need to do. I'll not be able to you know, go into the details of that. So both is important. You need to take the photographs as well as you also need to take the rough sketch. So at the scene, when you're doing the investigation, you would find something which is so you know, it goes like a hand in gloves for any accident investigation, is the kind of tire marks that you find there. The tire marks can be in the form of skid marks. You would find a kind of a rotated or you know, there is a circular dimension to it. There's an angular dimension to it that becomes your yaw mark. You would have gouge marks there. The gouge marks would be indented into the road scene, where the mechanical parts of the vehicle would have got into the road surface, the coal tar surfaces, and it would have come away with few parts of the road itself. So they are called as the gouge marks. So these are the marks that you'll normally find on the road. Now, additionally, what you would also find, these are called as the 2D marks also, you know, 2-dimensional marks. But there are 3-dimensional marks also on the accident site that you normally find, that which will actually give you the finer details and designs of the tire mark also. That is the tire. So that's called as a tread mark. So tread means the designs of the tire, that also would be there. So this is a typical example of a 3-dimensional, which means you would have length, breadth, and the depth of the tire. So it's for any surface which is slightly you know, which can be pressed down. There is a dimension that is associated to you. So you would find all the 3 dimensions there of length, breadth, and depth there, and you would find the marks of the tread very clearly there. So this is a 3-dimensional mark. Now there are ways and means to pick these evidences also. One is, of course, putting a scale and taking the close-up photograph of these. But you also have like things like, you know, POP, or you also have something which is called as you know, it is something silica based gel is there. It's called as a rubber silicone method. So it's something which you can pour over the surface. It will settle on the crevices of those designs, and you can pick it up and then finally send it to the forensics lab for further analysis of it. Glass is another evidence which is important in the initial, you know, basis of your vehicular parts. Glass, normally in the earlier times, you know, the vehicles used to have glass which were by and large made of annealed glass. But over a period of time, they understood that annealed glass adds on to the injury of the victims involved in accidents. How? Because each of those annealed glass, becomes a missile in itself, and it contributes and adds on to the injury of the victim or the of the road accident victims. And even if there are chances of his survival, these, because of loss of blood and because of you know, these glass particles embedding into the body of the victim, the person might die and might actually bleed to death and might die. It would also add to the disfigurement also of the individuals involved. So annealed glass breaks and produces these sharp, fine splinters which could embed into the body of the victim. So when this was understood that you need to change the type of glass, they later on came up with tempered glasses. So if you break it, it forms into dices. Then of course we have more technology coming in, and now you find that laminated glasses are there. Now the vehicle in itself would have in the current scenario, the automobile industry uses all three forms of glasses, except that there is a clear-cut directions as to which glass should be kept where. So the mirrors would be having your annealed glasses, your tempered glasses would be around your the windows, but your main windshield glass, your back glass would be having your laminated glasses. Now laminated glasses, they're basically double-layered glasses, and once the object or the victim from the vehicle, if he flies onto the glass, and if the head hits on the windshield, the chances are that the victim will remain inside. He would of course sustain he's not wearing a seat belt and he sustains an injury to the head, but he is at least inside the vehicle, because it breaks up, of course. The laminated glass would break up, but it would form those spider webbing there and will not allow the victim to fly out of the car, right? So this is something. So it's basically a polyvinyl butyryl layer sandwiched between two glass, so it hangs on to their to the windshield. So glass particles also are significant in, and as an evidence, it's important because it can blow up to different directions, and each glass based upon the elemental composition of the glass can give you a clear-cut characteristics of which kind of the glass has been used, what kind of cars use those kind of glasses, which is the window that is broken, whether it's a front, whether it's a windows, what is it. So there are times when you even get a number of the manufacturers around the beading edges of those glasses at the scene. So you would find glass is a significant evidence. Paint again is a very, very significant. So this is something which you can't negate. Basically, it follows the basic principle of forensic science, that when two objects come in contact with each other, they are bound to leave some evidence or exchange some evidence within each other. So now this, if there is two vehicle which has hit, they've scratched on, paint is something that will follow this principle of mutual exchange, Locard's principle of exchange to the T. How? Because if there is a something that with the two objects have come in contact with each other, they have hit each other, so there is a transfer of paint that will take place. The transfer of the paint can be in the form of a smear which is taking place, or you would also find that there are times when the paint chip falls on the surface, and that paint chip itself now will become a form of evidence, and it can be something which can be utilized for physical matching or physical fit. Physical fit जो है court of law में, if you are able to establish कि if this portion is out of this vehicle, if you're able to physically fit that on that same moles and crevices and smaller finer details of it, it actually is considered as 100% match, and the court accepts it in that form. So when you look into the examination of the vehicles, you would find skids, scrape, broken parts of the vehicle, metal contents of the metal parts of the vehicle, contents of the vehicle itself, paint chips of the vehicle. These are few things that you need to understand. I'll just give you a small case into how you go about processing that particular scene. This is an actual accident that took place, and there was a person who was admitted in the hospital. His son, the patient, he was not a accident victim, he was having a general disease, and he was admitted in the hospital. That person's son and the uncle of that boy, they were his attendants there in the hospital, and late in the night the uncle and the son, they decided to go for a dinner, and taking their wagon they went. But unfortunately, the vehicle was at a very high speed, and very high speed, at a very high speed, the vehicle skidded, turned on the left side of the highway, and the boy, the son of the man admitted in the hospital, he died on the spot, but the uncle who was driving the vehicle, he survives with minor injuries. Now, the question is, if you have to understand and an investigation goes into place, the first thing is, was the person who died on the spot actually on the driving side, or you have to establish whether he was driving the vehicle or whether he was on the passenger side or not. Now, you can't be going by what is a statement that is being given. Are there evidences to prove that he was actually seated on the passenger side of the vehicle or not? And whether the injuries sustained by the victim matches with the evidence that is found on the body of the vehicle. So whatever I've been telling you now of recording, of investigation, that will be covered within this case. Now, if you look into this part was taken care of when the body was brought in for a postmortem. The injuries that were sustained by the victim were the maximum, the life-threatening injuries were on the left side of the victim. So this is the first evidence that goes on to prove that where he was actually seated. So all his life-threatening injuries were towards the left side of the body. Now, when you correlated that with the vehicle itself, you will find that the major dents on the vehicle that were seen were also on the left side of the vehicle. So you photograph it, as I told you, front, back, side, everything you have to photograph it. Then you also take up the close-up shots of the vehicle side. You can keep a scale and measure the evidences. You need to mark it and examine it in close quarters. You need to take a close-up shots of the scratches that you're finding there on the body of the vehicle. You can measure it also, keep a scale and take the measurement of it. So if there are any spots like the blood spot that you're finding here, this needs to be photographed at close quarters. So this is how this case was processed. But I'm not taking into what happens after that. I'm saying at the scene how this is significant in understanding and correlating the story of the witnesses or the sequence of events that could have taken place. Similarly, there's another evidence which is so important for any accident case, that is understanding whether the victim was wearing a seat belt at the time of accident or not. Now, this seat belt would create, if at all, the manner in which the body was positioned, and when the brakes are pulled, the person would have a tendency to go maximum towards the front and then get back if he's wearing a seat belt. Now, depending upon the kind of clothes, like for example, if it's a winter time, you may not be able to see these kind of clear seatbelt marks there. But in summers, or if he's wearing a lighter seatbelt, lighter clothes, these kind of seatbelt marks are bound to be found on the body of the victim. And if these clear-cut marks are also not there, what you would also find, you may find these marks around the neck because it crosses the neck while you're pulling the seat belt. You would find it around your the clutch, the button, the stop button that where you put in the seat belt, that might actually hit you there. So the portion here on the pelvic part, you may find the aberrations there as well. So this is again, so now if you have to prove, this is a very significant evidence for your insurance companies. So insurance companies, they need this information, whether the person who was driving the vehicle was flouting any motor vehicle regulations or not. MVDR regulations ko flout to nahi kar raha tha. So one important factor is, because the regulation says that you are supposed to wear a seat belt at the time of accident, at the time of driving the vehicle on the road, or you're supposed to wear a helmet while you're driving a two-wheeler. So it's important that if at all you're insured, then it is important that you follow these regulations of these road regulations while you're acting as a road user or you're driving the vehicle. So these evidences are bound to be found on the body. Now, evidences on the body of the victim. Now, one of course being the seat belt. The other is also, if it is a run over case, there would be evidences present on the body of the victim, of the imprints of the tire. Sometimes the grill of the vehicle, that would be there on the imprinted on the body of the victim, on the chest wall, especially if it is a head-on collision. So you would find those evidences, and based on that, you will be able to understand at least the kind of vehicle that has hit him from either from the back or from the kind of injuries that you get on the body are indicative of the type of vehicle that the person might have has been subjected to the accident. Now, so what are the information you get? You get the information of the vehicle that has run over, relative position of the victim and the vehicle. And of course, there are times when you can even clearly identify the vehicle. I'm just going to give you one last case study. This is also one of the cases that we had looked into. This is an accident which took place in the Mehrauli Gurgaon road. It was early morning at 6:30 in the morning. And there was one fatality that took place. One person had died. It was a pillion rider. He was not wearing a helmet. Please, that is another information that I wanted to pass on. So there was an FIR which was registered. The vehicle was a Maruti Alto and the other vehicle was a Bajaj CT motorcycle. So these were the two vehicles that were that had come. The FIR was written in the case, and the FIR, if you can see that, it's very clearly written, badi tezi aur gaflat ke saath gaadi chala raha tha. So as I told you initially also, it's always the heavier vehicle that is put the blame. So here also it's the same thing happened. And also because, the sentiments are there for the person who dies. So automatically in this case also the Alto driver was at fault. And he was, booked for the accident that took place. Now, this is in the police language, this is called as a Naksha Mauka. It's called as, in forensic, scientifically called as a field sketch. So the police prepared the Naksha Mauka of what had happened. And I've just compiled it as statements of what had happened, statements which were given by the police and statement which is given by the driver of the car. Now, whatever statements are being given, they have to be cross-checked, cross-verified, and understood in the sense that is there a supportive evidence to prove the sequence of events and the statements that are being told. Now, as per the police, this was a head-on collision, right? So which means obviously if it's a head-on collision, there has to be evidence to prove that it was a head-on collision. So the evidence has to be on the bike as well as on the car, right? Whereas as per the driver of the car, he said, no, this is not a head-on collision. This is a side sweep. And the bike had actually skidded and skid karke gaadi ke fender pe, right fender pe jaake takraya tha. Next is the police, as per the police, it was rash and negligent driving by the driver of the car. Whereas the driver of the car said that it was a rash and negligent driving by the rider of the bike. So obviously this again needs to be understood whether it has actually happened in that form or not. The next is the police said that the PCR1 was on the spot, whereas the driver of the car said that the rider of the bike admitted that it was his mistake and he had told him, you go from the spot, if needed we'll call you. So he had left the car after having spoken to the victims. Now next is the driver of the car. The driver and the car were caught on the spot. This is as per the statement by the police, whereas as per the statement given by the driver, he said that it is the policeman, they had called him back to the spot and he was not caught on the spot as is being claimed. Now the issue is that whatever is being claimed can be verified from the evidence that you have at the spot. Now you just you take a call on it and you will understand that what I'm trying to say and to what extent the statements are given by the driver of the car and the police, to what extent it can be understood. So here, when you look into the car, you'd find that on the right fender of the car being hit by the leg guard of the bike first, and then taillight. So what has happened is the vehicle came. It was. I'll show you the map here. So this evidence that you can see, the leg guard of the bike, and there is of course a tail light that is broken there. So these evidences are there to prove. ये statement को हम prove करने के लिए है हमारे पास. Bike skid किया है. The bike has skidded. Yes. Does that information can be obtained? Yes, it can be obtained because there was a scratch mark on the left side of the footrest due to skidding of the bike on the carriageway. So this mark you can see, and this is on when on rough surface. If this metal part has skidded on that rough surface, you're bound to get these kind of marks there. Then there is also scratch mark on the left side footrest due to skidding of the bike on the carriageway. So this is again another. There is this piece of evidence which is broken. This was again found there at the scene. So this is probably what the sequence we worked it upon. There is a software which is called as a PC crash. We worked on that PC crash, and we found that this is probably how things could have actually looked like. The bike while coming down. So this is basically a slopey road, and the bike while coming down the slope at a very high speed, he lost control and started skidding. After losing control, the bike came onto the wrong lane. Ideally, he should have been on this lane, but because his vehicle was at a very high speed, it came, which should have been ideally on this, it came now onto the wrong lane. Now, while skidding, and his bike was, because it was at a high speed, it was skidding, and there was another vehicle that was coming from the opposite direction, that is from this side on. So they lost control, went and banged into the the rear side of the bike, hit first on, and the right fender of the vehicle, that also hit there on the right fender of the car, and due to collision the pillion rider was thrown away. The rider and the pillion rider, that is the person at the back, both of them were thrown off guard on the carriageway, and the head of the pillion rider hit on the carriageway with such a high impacting factor that he lost his life on the spot, also considering the fact that he was not wearing a helmet, right? And whereas the rider of the person who was riding the bike, he sustained minor injuries and he got away with it. So, this is when we are given the report, we went to the site, and this is the kind of evidence we found. And based on this, there was a opinion that was given, and the matter was sent to the police officials for after our concerned report and opinion. So I'm just winding up whatever I said. It's just basically it's an interdisciplinary approach. So if you see from whatever I said, it's not just forensic people who will come there. It's not just the investigation officers who will come there. There needs to be, it's a combination. If at all you are working towards reducing the casualty on the roads, then there has to be an interdisciplinary approach of engineering, enforcement, education. The road safety education has to be given to people. Evidence collection, evaluation of those evidence, and finally engagement of all these people together on one platform needs to be there. So there has to be an interdisciplinary approach. If that interdisciplinary approach is there, the 6 E's are culminating, then this 6 E's will actually bring down the casualty on the roads. So at the end of it, if I say what is the significance of doing an accident investigation, then the significance can be understood by this one single table which I've compiled. This is, if I say that there is an accident that's taken place, we first have to identify the key event defining the accident, right? We have to understand what are the precipitating factors. So basically the factors which has led to the accident, we have to investigate on that. Once you have understood what those contributing and precipitatory factors of the accidents are, you bring out the causes and consequences of the accident. Now, once you know this is how the accident has taken place, you would be able to relate and come up with remedial factors in addressing those incidents or accident cases. How? Once you know that is an accident that has taken place, you would be able to determine who is the person who is actually guilty or who needs to be booked, who should be challaned. So there is a punitive actions can be developed and given for the people who are actually involved in the accident. What is the enforcement that you need to do on those spots? So enforcement would, of course, bring down the number of accidents, and it also create a fear among people that you need to wear your helmet, you need to slow down because there is a speed radar that is kept there, and there's an enforcement vehicle that is there, and it is going to record your speed and you're going to be challaned. So the enforcement, कहाँ पे enforcement गाड़ी जो है वो लगनी चाहिए, पुलिस की deputation कहाँ होनी चाहिए? Is there a need for improving the road environment and that spot? Has the the road design contributed to that accident? If at all, can we bring out some change in the spot? Do we need to put up a speed breaker? Or we even need to give a small roundabout there? So these are small interventions that can help you in reducing your road accidents. And of course, do we need to come up with vehicle improvements? Now you can see, there are, if you drive the vehicle, until and unless you don't put the seat belt, there's this beeping tone that keeps on coming. You have not closed your doors of the vehicle, there's a beeping sound that keeps on coming. So these are all vehicle improvements that have been designed for the safety of the riders. So based on that, I think the new MVDR rules is, again, it has increased your punishment, it has increased your challaning systems. So the code of practice can be developed for the road users. And once that is there, also to the effect that post-crash management. So once the accident is done, it's there, then how soon can you address those people? How soon can you pick up those people from the spot? Which is the nearest hospital that you can take them? If at all it is that stretch is a dangerous stretch, and that the accidents are taking place there, can you post an ambulance there, which is happening in some very good places. Even I've seen something happening in Faridabad. That stretch has is constantly there are accidents taking place, but there is despite several remedial measures taken on the roads, accidents do happen there because of the rash driving of the people, of the road users. So there is an ambulance which is posted there on the road, and immediately something happens, the ambulance rushes to the spot and helps the people getting to the nearest hospitals. Last but not the least, there's the proper compensation and rehabilitation of the victims that can be done based on the based on the investigations that you have done. So this is a factor that you have to consider while doing an investigation, and this is why an investigation is important and significant. And with this talk, I hope I have not only touched upon the investigation part, but I think every youngster who is on any mode and medium that you are rightly associated with me right now on this platform, it's a sincere request that be safe, be important. It's important that you take care of your safety, wear your helmets, wear your seat belt, don't overspeed. There's so many signs and signages that are put everywhere, speed thrills but kills, and there's so many things that you would find there. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that there is someone back home who's waiting for you and wants you to be back home. So all, it's a message for every youngster, every person, in fact, why an youngster, but every person who's with me as today on this platform. I wish each one of you would take care of your own self and convey this message to your near and dear ones to be safe on the roads. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ellie. So it's really nice, very nice, I should say. Very informative.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am, for such an informative presentation.
Yeah, could not move a bit. It was so engrossing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Lately,
I
just to add one thing, I had just heard about an accident somebody was in. It was a minor accident, but that person got compensation from the insurance on the basis of a camera he had installed in his car.
Yeah.
So that is also a good measure because that in that recording showed that it was the fault of the other person.
Right, right. That's what I mean. The technology does have its own share of advantages, ma'am, and this is definitely one of them. CCTV cameras definitely do help. There are these technologies that have come where you are on the dashboard itself. You have these cameras there, so that is also something which can be. But that is there are some vehicles that come with those inbuilt dashboard cameras. But then others, you still have an option of putting up that, and it's not just for even car break-ins, it can be useful in those scenarios also. Car theft, car break-ins and all.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Dr. Sally?
Yes, sir.
Actually, what I have seen that you have given a very nice talks on the accidents, but what I have observed in our daily life that our rules regarding the accidents, they are more in favor of the accused, not in favor of the victims. What happens? Some accident takes place, the person accused, they immediately get the bail and they get away from the bail. So there should be the need for the change in the laws so that such a person, they should not get away so easily from the hands of the laws.
Yeah, I do agree, sir, on that. The issue here comes, how do you get to the culprits? First thing, the issue is that how would you know that he was at fault? The first thing is that the investigations are not happening. So how would you know that the person was actually, is a party to that particular crime, or he's actually committed an offense? Now, once you get into this factor here, it's a, when I was telling you about initially itself, I said, कि हम accidents को crime के context में देखते ही नहीं. Our definition of accidents are, okay, it's something has happened. So, आप investigation भी नहीं करते. So, investigation, you go and do an investigation when? The investigations are actually done when, you can establish that the person was driving under the influence of alcohol. You have 304 B sections there. Culpable homicide को आप लगा सकते हो उस केस के साथ associate कर सकते हो. Then in that scenario, you're able to do that. And yes, our laws do have, they'll go and immediately take a bail plea there. But in case if you do have supporting evidences to prove that, yes, the accident has happened because of this person's fault, whether it is in the form of a compensation or jail term, it can be handed over. Unfortunately, that very element of investigation is missing. And that is where the whole, problem comes up.
Even then, these accidents, they are coming under the unintentional crimes. But I have seen there are a number of accidents, the people lying on the roadsides, they are crushed by some of the drivers or the accused, but they immediately get the bails. That is a clear case that if a person lying on the roadside is crushed by a car or some other vehicle, it is none of their fault. But even those cases I have read in the newspapers, the accused, they are getting the bail.
Yes, they are. Now, why there is a loophole in this is, now if I have to take up a cue from your question there, sir, or your statement, I think I don't want to name the person here, but there's this famous Bollywood celebrity who was involved in a similar case. The question here is, and even till today it remains a mystery, sir, who was driving the vehicle at the time of accident? Now, the people
So
involved.
these are only to save the accused.
Right. So Dr. Sodhi is here. I think he would understand the value of fingerprints. There is so many cases that I've personally dealt with where you can actually pick up the fingerprints from the steering wheel, from the dashboard of the driver's side, from the door handles.
You can easily establish who is the person who is driving the vehicle.
Exactly. And there have been so many number of cases where the court itself has intervened and told the police that you were supposed to take up the fingerprints to establish who was driving the vehicle. And since you didn't do that duty, now to question ki kaun gaadi chala raha tha, so that actually has, you know, it's going round and round and there's no answers that is coming up. So, but that's what I'm saying. Processing the vehicle, processing the scene has such a significant role in trying to understand who was driving that vehicle and saying that is the person actually a culprit. A similar case had happened in Kerala also, where a top IAS officer was involved, and you know the person and there's this newspaper, very famous newspaper in Kerala, that is, you know, Manorama newspaper, and the journalist of that Manorama newspaper was crushed because of the due to the vehicle of the IAS officer, you know, being hit by the to the bike of the journalist. And one of the primary thing, you know, despite the fact, if somebody is trying, there were two people in the vehicle at the time of the accident, along with the IAS officer. So one of the things that they did, the police did, was to establish among the two of them who was driving the vehicle at the time of accident. To prove that, the first thing that they did was pick up the fingerprints from the vehicle and establish that out of the two, yes, it was the IAS officer who was driving the vehicle at the time of accident. So you would not find these kind of cases too many. But if it is done.
फोटो
Gurvinder, kindly mute yourself.
Okay.
So it's really once again I wish to thank you, and let me tell you, she has another meeting, she has to go, and it's very nice of her, you know, she finished in time, but very informative lecture, and even a common man would have followed that. So what's the protocol now? I think just hurriedly read the vote of thanks.
Yes, sir. Yes. Yeah. So I, on behalf of the chemistry department, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to all of you here for taking your time from your respective schedules to grace this occasion. I would like to thank all the members of Catenation for working so hard on this magazine. I thank everyone for the involvement they have shown to take on the completion of tasks beyond their comfort zone. Dr. Selilukos, we are all most grateful to you. We thank you for being with us. It has been a great pleasure. Thank you everyone for making this event a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sally, once again, and sorry for the delay, but we'll certainly like to have you again. Huh?
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I think Chavi wanted to recite one more shabad or prayer for Corona.
Sure. Please carry
on. Yeah, please, Chavi, go ahead.
Yes, Satnam.
Hanji.
Satnam, before starting that.
Hanji, we can hear you. Hanji, ma'am, please, we are listening. We can hear you.
Can you hear me before starting? Okay. So I just wanted to say a few words, because I think the first year students are attending this meeting for the first time. I think they should know a little bit about our Catenation Society and all that. Okay. So can I continue? I am audible?
Hanji, ma'am, you are audible, ma'am. Ma'am, you are audible.
I don't know, in between it is getting disconnected. Actually, I wanted to say that since the Catenation Society of our department, it has, because the first year students are also there, I think they must know about this. So it was started with the sole aim to create the interest for promoting this subject for the benefit of the young scientific minds. And Catenation has performed very successfully in achieving its various goals by organizing debates, lectures by the eminent personalities, slogan writing, poster making, and quiz competition, etc. And I think the students always enjoyed these programs, and it has always been highly successful in developing proper team spirit among the students. And I think today's world, where the life has become very unpredictable, science has given us the hope and courage to the humanity to face the challenges this pandemic has brought. And today, I think the Zwitter magazine issue 5 has been released on this occasion by our principal, sir. And this magazine is a great motivation to our students and teachers to show their writing skills. And I think all credit for this goes to the hard work of the students and teachers of the department. And I hope this magazine will progress in the right direction. And today we had a very interesting, educational, informative talk by Dr. Shelley on the topic of scientific aspects of accident investigation. And I think we are very thankful to the madam for sparing his time from her busy routine for this function. And I hope that everybody has worked very hard for this to make this function a grand success. And my all wishes to all of you. I think, thank you. I think first year students, I hope they have also joined today this function just to understand the working of our department. Okay, all the best and thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Chavi, now you can, I think, go ahead.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am. I would thoroughly request you all again to cover your heads and join your hands. वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। मेरे परम पिता परमात्मा कर सब दुखा दा खात्मा। मेरे परम पिता परमात्मा कर सब दुखा दा खात्मा। हर पासे सुख दी आस करा, हथ जोड़ के मैं अरदास करा। हर पासे सुख दी आस करा, हथ जोड़ के मैं अरदास करा। मेरे परम पिता परमात्मा कर सब दुखा दा खात्मा। रोक ले दुखा दिया दीनो, एह दुनिया मुक दी जांदी। गुनाहानू नाल पा दे सिद्धियां राहानू। मेरे परम पिता परमात्मा कर सब दुखां दा खात्मा। सारी दुनिया तेनू पुकार रही, तेरे रहम दा कर इंतजार रही। तेरी मेहर जे हो जाए एक बारी, हो जाएगी दूरे महामारी। सब दुखां दा खात्मा हर पासे हाहाकार होई एह दुनिया हुन लाचार होई सुन ले बिनती हुन बच्चे आदी एह गल हुन वसों बार होई सुन ले बिनती हुन बच्चे आदी एह गल हुन वसों बार होई मेरे परम पिता परमात्मा कर सब दुखां दा खात्मा हर पासे सुख दी आस करां हथ जोड़ के मैं अरदास करां हथ जोड़ के मैं अरदास करां वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह थैंक यू सो मच
Thank you, Kavi. We all pray for the same.
yes ma'am
Yeah.
Thank you, Chavi, for nice recitation.
Yeah, very nice, you know.
Very
thank
nice.
you so much sir thank you ma'am
So I
विजय
think
जी, sorry to disrupt you. साइन कहाँ पर करने हैं वो? अच्छा, जगदीश कहाँ मिलेंगे? अच्छा,
Gurvind.
हाँ, sorry.
Madam, you want to say
unmute.
something?
कोई नहीं सीनियर या
Anyone?
सीनियर कुछ भी कर सकते हैं
हाँ.
सीनियर सर
Senior madam can say something to us also. She has been telling things to others. Okay. So
it was a very nice, nicely organized event, and thank you, Satnam ma'am, because and Dr. Sodi, because under your leadership, the students were able to organize it so well and compiling the Twitter.
I am not the convener.
No, convener, and you were also actively involved.
You are.
I just, I personally knew the speaker. I just requested her, and she has conceded to my request. That's all. I knew her since long time.
But Satnam ma'am is organizing the show so well, and it is very well nicely organized show. And thank you, Vimal, for organizing the technical
technical
part of it.
All technical contribution is because of Vimal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
thanks to the whole technical team.
It has to be a collaborative effort. It
Yeah.
has to be a collaborative effort. So, yes, wish you all the best.
So thank
Wish
you
you all
very
the
much,
best.
students. We all enjoyed and very well organized. Yeah, all of them have worked very hard and very enthusiastically. Good work. Day and night, they have been editing things and doing stuff. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And,
have a nice day, all of
from
you.
where we can
okay then
have
So now everybody
Thank
can
you.
enjoy their own refreshments.
Yes. And send the bill to Dr. Satnam.
Yeah.
sure
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
thank you
want to go through the magazine. Just one query. I want to go through the magazine from where I can have the access. From where we can have the access to the magazine.
Ma'am, I will share with you.
there's a PDF in our group, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, the PDF is there in the group.
So
Is it the revised one? I think that was the old one.
Okay. Please share it so that we can all have the access.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.